so to speak?
I'm not sure I can answer that one. In my recipe in the video, I actually involved flambe, which people didn't see. They didn't see the flambe. But I did have the whiskey ready to hand. So I thought deconstruct it and just have the whiskey.
That's great, Arfam. It's not quite the most healthy option, is it? I mean, we're getting older now. It's probably a good idea to, embrace the smoothie generation and maybe get some exercise going. What do you think?
How do you make a whiskey smoothie?
You can add whiskey to anything.
Add whiskey. Yeah, well, we could use. Have we got everybody back from the breakout rooms now?
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone's back. Yeah,
I think we do.
Everyone.
And
excellent. There you go.
As I was saying about the healthy option, I think we've been sitting around quite a bit. Arfan, I don't know. How much exercise do you do? Are you into yoga or Pilates or anything like that?
Not particularly. I'm not very flexible, to be honest. In fact, I can barely reach to my wallet to pay for a drink when it's my round. So I think that this next item, which is Amelia doing some yoga for us, is going to help us all and certainly help me. May cost me a bit of money, but I think it's going to be well worth it.
I agree. I've got my yoga mat here.
Arfan, it's not me doing yoga for you guys. It's all of you guys doing yoga.
I hear her. Let's go to her live.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've got to get ready then.
Okay.
She's live in the Canaries, everyone.
Oh, hello.
Well, thanks for being up for this and game for this. It was very impressive. So we're just going to do a little bit of yoga, but nothing too scary. And you don't need to lie down. You don't need a lot of space. You just need to be standing up and with some room out to the sides.
I get a lifting table. Does that count?
I'd love to see you all if possible. Okay. Yeah, you don't need your yoga mat, Kate. It's not going to be terribly technical at all. Okay, so I realize you can't see my feet, but that's okay. You don't really need to. So just standing up in a comfortable way. We're just just have a little moment of yoga. This was Kate's idea. I think, Kate, you were hoping that somehow by all of us doing the same physical thing at the same time, we could generate a little bit of a feeling of togetherness inside this strange context. So that's going to be kind of a new thing for all of us, but we'll see how it goes. Getting into our body, we will take the classical route, which is bringing our pelvis into the forefront of our awareness, okay? We're going to think about the pelvis and the feet specifically, so that we can get into our bodies just for a little moment here. Pelvis, let's think of it like a very big beach ball, maybe a big beach ball floating in the sea, maybe floating in Pedder Bay. So that we have the pelvis nice and big and three-dimensional in our awareness. Let's bend the knees as well, bending the knees. Letting the pelvis sink quite a lot towards the floor. And that immediately makes it easy to move the pelvis, right? Much more easy than if your legs were straight. And let's bounce a little bit. So you're going to bend and straighten your knees just very softly. Maybe your arms could join in with a little bit of a bounce, a soft bounce. This is a wonderful thing about that image of a big beach ball floating on the sea, that the pelvis is kind of suspended between two poles, right? So if we get a little bit too heavy, it has that buoyancy. And on the other hand, if we get a little ungrounded, it has that ballast. So we're just trying to find a happy place for the pelvis in between those two poles, with that little bounce happening as the knees gently bend and straighten. And then you can just allow that bounce to fade away. Okay, So just coming back to a place of relative stillness, that bouncing dying away, but still feeling a little bit of a residual buoyancy and maybe even a little bit of vibrancy in the pelvis. Now, bringing the feet into our awareness, let's sway our weight forwards and backwards. So as we move our body forwards, leaning into the balls of the feet and the toes, there's more pressure in that part of the feet. And then as we lean our body backwards, we sink more into the heels. So that these shifting pressure patterns across the soles of the feet are reflecting what's going on in the whole of the body as the whole of the body moves forwards and backwards. Moving a little bit side to side now. So you're swaying over towards your right leg, swaying over towards your left leg. All very floaty. Your pelvis is still a beach ball, floating on the seat. Maybe we could think of those seaweeds that float in Pedder Bay, those huge, big, slippery kelp, you know, the big, long kelp that float on the sea there. And as you do move side to side, you're going to notice that a little bit of swaying very naturally comes into play. Thinking about big kelp seaweeds swaying around, but a little bit of a figure eight happening now. I'll just draw that figure eight with my arms so you know what I mean. Pressure patterns across the sole of the feet are doing a little bit of a figure eight of their own as you move from the front of one foot to the back of that foot, to the front of the other foot, back of that foot. And we're not in a technical mindset at all. We're just trying to richly imagine that slippy, slimy quality of that seaweed and how it would sway around so smoothly, just like our bodies are moving very, very smoothly now. Letting that movement die away, becoming smaller. So your pelvis now is kind of spiraling in to a place of relative stillness, which would be the happy place for the pelvis. And the happy place for the feet, where the feet are nicely and evenly receiving your weight across all of their surface in a nice balanced way, pelvis suspended somewhere in the middle of all that. Now, as I said, it's kind of nice and easy to find that happy place when your knees are bent. Let's let that happen when our knees are straight. So you're going to think about your feet on the floor. Think about the surface of the soles of your feet on the surface of the floor. And you're going to physically push and press the floor away like it's an object. Push and press the floor strongly and firmly away. Your knees will straighten. Your body will rise and lift. And as you push down into the floor, you're going to feel an equal and opposite upwards feeling through the crown of your head. Bring your feet together. You're going to bend your knees, but deeply. Your fingertips are going to go down towards the floor as you bend your knees a lot, deeply. Bring your arms up overhead. You've got a prayer position between your hands. Look up to your thumbs, if that's okay with your neck, and sink your pelvis down a lot. It'll be a little bit daring. Let your pelvis sink down a lot. Feel the pressure patterns changing across the surface of your feet, right to left, front to back. Let a little bit of a charge build in your muscles, sink a bit deeper. And we're going to do the same thing, pressing away. So feel the pressure across the surface of your feet into the floor and push the floor away. Knees straighten, legs straighten. Body rises and lifts. Arms move down by your sides as the crown of your head lifts up to the ceiling. Bring your prayer position in front of your body, thumbs resting on your breastbone. Clarifying a sense of a strong line from the crown of your head, dropping down into the floor like a broomstick, and swaying forwards and back like we did before. Weight into the front of your feet, weight into the heels, weight into the front of the feet, weight into the heels, weight into the front of the feet, and lift up. Rising onto your toes, heels lifting, lifting the prayer position up, resting the prayer position on the crown of your head, lifting through the crown of your head, and pulling an imaginary silk ribbon out of the crown of your head, pulling it up to the ceiling, through the ceiling, to the stars, and your arms come down by your sides, your heels slowly sink down, arms come down by your sides, and settle your weight through the whole surface of your feet. One more time, bend your knees a lot, fingertips down towards the floor, deep bend in the knees, arms rise up, look up if you can. I'm waiting here just to build a charge in your leg muscles. All the better to push the floor away with. Sinking down a bit deeper. And push the floor away. Feet pushing one way, crown of the head floating the other way. Prayer position. Lean forwards into your toes. Lift. Lift the crown. Prayer position onto the crown. Pull that silk ribbon up through the crown of your head to the sky. Let your arms relax down by your sides. Heels sink down. Settle your weight through the surface of your feet. Pelvis sitting in a happy place at the center. And soft shoulders, relaxing down through your long, soft arms, soft wrists, and into two warm, soft hands. Close your eyes. Separate your feet a little bit so you have a very easy stance. Soft hands. I hope you're okay with a little bit of a slightly corny moment, but I do feel it's important. We're gonna imagine that we have one of our friends on our right side, one of our friends on our left side, and you're gonna hold their hands with your nice, warm, soft hands. Weight swaying around in an easy way through the soles of your feet. A little bit of a residual, gentle, smooth sway in the pelvis. Soft face, soft shoulders, long soft arms, warm hands. And your friends on either side, they're also holding hands with their friends, and on and on and on in a very big long line, the entire community. Then everybody forms a circle, everybody holding hands in your imaginations, one big circle, and feeling the connection that threads all its way back to those days on that land, that sacred land. That smell of our sweat mixed in with the pine needles, brushing our teeth next to each other, hearing the soft sounds of our roommates snoring at nighttime, feeling that connection, and feeling the quality of space inside this circle that we've created, as we all collectively tune into that kind of an animal level that we used to share, where we were very glued together in a very full-bodied kind of a way. I will also acknowledge, speaking for myself, but I imagine for all of us, a certain sense of disconnection within the connection. We have some people who have passed. We have some people who are not here because they feel alienated. Were we to be sharing the same space physically, we may feel a little bit awkward or shy about showing our face because we may feel we're slightly a little bit of a failure, or they made more money, or they gave more money, or they saved the world a little bit more than we did. We may feel uneasy around each other's biome and virome. And we may feel a little bit worried that we could be actually under personal attack by some of the, opinions that some of us maybe hold. So acknowledging the disconnection as well as the connection, feeling the space inside the circle, and then just opening your eyes softly, taking one step forwards so that that circle compresses and the energy inside it builds just a little bit in intensity. Now bring your hands into prayer position. Thank you all very, very much. And I hope it was a nice little bit of an attempt to have a little bit of a feeling of being together, even though we're not, but we are, but we're not, but we are. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amelia.
Amelia.
Thanks, Amelia. That's lovely.
Well, thank you, Amelia. That was great, very relaxing. Although a bit more energetic than I personally had thought it was going to be. Whew. Anyway, we now move on to look at all the activities that have been taking place this week in the reunion. They'll be presented by Marinda. So over to you, Marinda.
Thank you, Arfan. So we're so excited that we had such an incredible outpouring of contributions of slides to recap sessions that many of you led throughout the week. We are short on time today, and we have just this desire to include all voices, as many as possible. So I will be inviting session leaders to speak very briefly, just a sentence or several, if you could, please, to your slides as we pace through them. And keeping in mind that this has really been an outpouring of the community, stepping up, signing up, and showing up, as Meg introduced to us earlier. Thank you to everyone who participated in all these sessions, everyone who led them. It's been an amazing week of content for everyone to enjoy and to go back to through recordings. So without further ado, Ruben, let's start moving through the slides, please. And I'd like to invite Letitia to come off mic and say a few words.
Hi, everybody. I must say the craft club was really fun. It was one of the first hangouts as we gathered last Saturday. So it was a great time, I must say, because we spent a couple of hours just talking, laughing. Well, we were crocheting, knitting, doing beautiful crafts. Like, for example, I love Meg's blanket. Ida was making beautiful flowers with beads. Well, and Danielle, she made gorgeous earrings. So it was a relaxing moment, a time to catch up, a time to be together, just as ourselves, you know. It was a really nice time. So because of that, and because we really enjoyed that time, we decided to get together again. So we gather again on Wednesday, and we did the same thing. So it was really good. Really, thank you guys, because I spent a really nice time with you, and it was so nice to see all of you again and to know how you were doing these days and how we grow up. You know, it was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia. Thank you so much. And please know too, keep your mics off, everyone, if you can, through this portion. And also, we're going to share these slides later as a PDF. So don't despair that there's a lot of detail to absorb on the individual slides as we flip through them quickly. And next up, Lillian helped us make ceviche. Lillian, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much, Marinda. So we came together also one of the first sessions, and I prepared ceviche, which I think that most of you have heard of by now. And it's a very Latin American thing, but one thing that you can do anywhere in the world. So I hope you enjoy the resources that we put together. And thank you, Carla, for the lovely pictures. You should start scrolling through them because there's a few of them. But I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Aura, would you like to say a few words about the Asia and the Asia Hangout? Tara is not with us today, but a number of you attended the Australia Pacific Hangout. Thank you. Again, we'll have the slides available for a closer look after today. Next slide, Ruben.
Yes, so the Asian Hangout, thank you everyone that joined. We covered many things from where are you now, what do you do to coping with COVID, online learning for our children. We even learned sign language in the true spirit of UWC, learn sign language from Tara. We were all amazed by Kantha's multitasking skills because she joined while driving, very dedicated. So we also had a mural board up for metaphor of myself. That would be in the slides later on that I'll share. But thank you everyone for participating and sharing the metaphor of yourself now and yourselves in the future.
Thank you, Aura. And next, Letitia, speaking to the memorial for VIPA. Constance, pardon me.
Yes, well, we wanted to remember our dear Wipa, who passed away nearly a year ago in September last year. And so Lilian prepared like a few slides on her, how can I say, throughout her life, the things that she did. And then we had a slideshow that was prepared by Zuhur's daughter. And afterwards, we had some discussions. We asked Jerome, Wipa's late husband, to participate. And it was quite emotional. And at the same time, we did remember funny things about Wipa, as she had a very bright smile, and somehow she managed to be with so many of us throughout the years. And so it was a very special moment, and I think she will always stay in our hearts.
Thank you, Constance. Warren, would you like to say a few words about the Middle East Hangout?
Yeah, sure. We called it the Middle East Hangout, but I think most people there showed up from other time zones. It was a lot of fun. Spent quite a bit of time chatting about the COVID situation across the world, which was fascinating. Yeah, I think that was it. It was really fun to kind of reconnect with people.
Thank you, Oren. Arfan hosted a session about cooking Welsh cakes. Any words from you, Arfan?
I wasn't going to add any words, actually. I think the Welsh cakes spoke for themselves. But just thank you to everybody that joined in, and for those who've seen the video since and have commented. Hopefully you've enjoyed the experience, and we'll continue to make them after the reunion.
Thank you, Arfan. Meg hosted a UK hangout. Any words from you, Meg?
It was Western Europe mostly, and me, and it was very well populated by people from Chicago and Alaska and Vancouver and everywhere else, which is the spirit of UWC. It's lovely to see everyone.
Thank you. Tanya, America's East Regional Hangout.
Yes, this was one of the most popular. There were people from all over the Americas and beyond, and it was heavily populated by Latinos, and everyone got to reconnect and update where they are from, and so it was a really good time.
Thank you. A number of people, 15, joined me for the America's West Hangout. We had a wonderful discussion, connecting with new people, reconnecting with each other. Thank you all who participated. Danielle, you hosted the next session on Indigenous rights and reconciliation with Jorgen and Catherine. Would you like to say a few words?
Or I'm just trying to get my video going. There we go. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Really great session. Thank you to everyone who participated, who asked questions. We had 29 people there, including Marg and Marks, who popped up at a few events during the week, so it was great to see them. Was together with Jorgen from Greenland from my year, and Catherine Anderson, who is my 0 year from originally from Labrador. And we're all in one way or another working in this field, and also it was really great to share kind of our lived experiences with so many of you. Very brief summary of some of the things we talked about. I'm not going to go through it all. This will be in the deck or in the slides. But it was really interesting to hear perspectives from, Greenland, which is 89% Inuit and has probably the most advanced form of Indigenous self-government in the world, to, the situation here in Canada. Jose spoke to the situation in Ecuador. And, overall, a really interesting discussion. And I think, got a lot of us reflecting on, whose land we're on, where we sit, and the place of Indigenous peoples in our own countries, but also on the international stage. So just to the next slide really quickly. I think it's, maybe it disappeared. Okay, there was a third slide that has all of the links and resources that we spoke about in the session. So lots of people had asked either in the chat or in follow-up for more information on different topics. So we put together a list, and that'll be available to you after the reunion. So thanks, Marinda. Walalio, everyone.
Thanks, Danielle. We'll make sure we get that slide in the follow-up PDF. Jaylene, would you like to say a few words about your songwriting session?
Yeah, actually, I'd sent a video, but since I'm here, I'll just say that we had a small group and a great discussion, not just about songwriting, but about creativity in general. And one of the things that came up was how challenging it can be to value creative time in our lives, but how important it is. And that's time where we kick out the editor.
No, it's just the summary wrap up of the whole week. So,
oh, there, you're muted now. Okay, so it's time where the editorial part of ourselves, the perfectionist part of ourselves, is set aside, and we just allow ourselves to play and explore and be creative without expectation. The irony there being that when we allow ourselves to do that, very often we will create something that we really like, or something we might be willing to share. So there's a tension there, right, between setting aside time without expectation. And then if there is something to work with, that's where you bring the editor back to create, to shape it into something that maybe we would share with other people. We were reminded just of how much music can build community. The arts, I think, in general do that. And yeah, mentorship, we talked a little bit about that, and also about how we fill ourselves up as creatives, maybe as people in general, but before we go into the creative space, being full, being inspired, and making sure that we take care of that part of ourselves. I've heard it said that songwriting is you won't do songwriting, and maybe this would go for any arts practice, unless you put it at the top of the list. But it can be the hardest thing to put at the top of the list when you consider life's obligations and even just our own mindset, how much we're actually valuing that creative time. So that's what we did. It was fun, and I was just so thrilled to talk about something I'm passionate about. And
Thank you.
Sure, is there a song coming up now?
Oh, we've lost you. Sorry, no.
It's coming after this set of slides, Jillian, so we'll hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jaylene. And Carla hosted a session on making t-shirt yarn.
Yep, not much to say. We just laughed basically constantly for 1 hour, and we talked a little bit about t-shirts. That's the summary.
Perfect. Thank you for your wonderful slides and photos too, Carla. All right, next up, we have a brief video from Daniel Mittler.
Hello everyone, I'm Daniel, year 17, and together with Dazzle of year 19, I did a session on climate. We don't have anything snazzy to share, no presentation, no pictures or anything, because we just did a real common room sharing. And we went around the room, we meandered, we touched lots of different topics, but it was really beautiful to see the experiences and the emotions shared from across the globe. We covered everything from how we can take personal responsibility to the need for structural change, from forest fires in Australia and Canada to the struggles of many of us in dealing with this issue as we have growing children. Thanks everyone for being there. We were a truly global crowd, and one of the reflections we had was that 30 years ago we were discussing the climate crisis, and now we are experiencing it wherever we are on this little planet of ours. So thanks for those who joined, and the rest of you, we will hopefully continue this conversation over the various social media that have so beautifully been filled with content over the last 10 days.
Thank you, Daniel, who sent that video. Go ahead and advance to the next slide. And lastly, Kuman hosted Rethinking and Reflecting on Our Identities. A few words from you, if you like.
Oh, we just looked at export ourselves and how we view ourselves and others, and ended off by looking at ways moving forward, in a non-conventional way. Non-conventional ways of looking at self and others. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we'll have more sessions content later in the second segment. I'm going to pass it back over to our MCs for now. Thank you again to everyone who contributed that content and hosted those sessions.
Thank you, Miranda. And thank you for everyone who hosted a session. It's truly made this the quilt of many, many, many patches, and they are gorgeous patches. So I want to lead us to Winnipeg now, and Jaylene is gave us a really wonderful session, which I was at, and this is one of her tracks from her latest album, which I believe is from 2017, and she can correct me in the chat if that's not right, but please enjoy. This is Fallen.
There are things I've done I never should have done, and things I've said I never should have said. I can't forget, and it's messing with my head. The things I've done, the things I've said. I'd be telling lies if I said that I'd be good, that every time I do everything I should. If I tried, did the very best I could, it wouldn't be enough. I could not be good. I'm falling, falling. I am falling, falling. I am I pray for grace I know I don't deserve, and all I have couldn't pay you what it's worth. But you said it's mine, I take you at your word, 'cause I need this grace that I don't deserve. I'm falling, falling. I am falling, falling. I am falling, falling into the arms of mercy. Oh, I am falling, falling. I am falling, falling. Falling. I am falling, falling into the arms of mercy. There are things I've done I never should have done, and things I've said I never should have said. And I can't forget all the things I've done, the things I've said, the things I've done, the things I've said. Falling, falling. I'm falling, falling.
Thank you so much, Jaylene. We've gone to another place, as someone said in the chat, and I don't want to leave it. So thank you so much. But Arvin, are you out there, or have you gone to another place?
No, I'm still here, although I feel like I was transported to another place for a moment there. Thank you, Jaylene. That was beautiful, as always. But it's really nice to hear your voice singing. It is certainly a blast from our time at Pearson. Next up we have Eric, and again, Eric is one of those magical people who seems to stay young. While the rest of us get old and creaky, Eric seems to be bouncing around the place, you know, with his dancing and his choreography, just seems to mature marvelously. I think there's a picture of him in the attic that doesn't change because he's still the youth that he was back in Pearson days. So there's a short video from him now of some of his work. He's not in it, but it is his work. And after that, we'll have an intermission, have a short break, an eco break, I think that Meg described it the other day, and then we'll come back. So over to Eric's video.
I'm sunset with no sleep at all. Constantly thinking about you, and I can't get through this at all. Thinking about you. Thinking about you. I've been thinking too much about you.
Great, thank you, Eric. That was
Amazing.
brilliant. And we're now going to go into an intermission. It's be a 5-minute break. There will be breakout rooms which you can choose, or if you don't choose, you'll be dropped into one automatically. So it's a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back for the final part of the gala performance. Thank you.